Yeah.
Trapped inside.
Yeah, no, he's been pretty much open every day.
Really?
Except when we went to my sister.
Can you share, I guess, if they are?
Yeah.
Annie, do you know the password to the Wi-Fi?
Well, maybe Jeff knows.
Yeah, actually.
And what's the password to your house? I can probably.
Yeah, you can't get to my house.
They won't reach.
Well, do you really need?
Yeah, we have one person coming on by Zoom.
Oh,
I wanted to have one screen for people to look at and the other for me to manipulate, but we can go back, we can go to one.
And it's a custom one, right? Because usually the routers have them right on it.
I look.
Yeah.
It's a commercial router.
Because I know Kim has sent it to me a bunch of times. So
I'll look for the old, I sent her an email, figured she's eating dinner.
If I had my,
Well,
doesn't your computer automatically connect? I mean, that's, once you use the password, whenever I bring my computer here, it immediately goes online because it's memorized.
Well, no, but that's not, that's a password for the Wi-Fi. This is a.
No,
But whatever.
but
Okay,
it's
I'm just-
for
If
the
this
town's
this
Wi-Fi.
computer has never been signed into the Wi-Fi.
See, that's the problem.
Well, you could go to guest maybe.
I tried the guest and it wanted a password.
So I watched.
don't remember.
Oh, maybe I'll just try.
Yeah, 1 minute. I saw a really cute movie last night. This all reminds me.
Has to do with
It's called Thelma, and it's with June Squibb, and I think she's 95,
Oh, my God.
and she's a elderly grandmother who gets hacked.
Oh,
God.
okay.
Very fun if you want to watch it.
Well, I will watch
just
it.
got totally hacked. Our main bank account got
No, no.
hacked.
Oh,
We
no.
spent days, because we have Bank of America, they're not in Vermont, they did it. New Hampshire, someone did an automatic
Oh, no,
withdrawal
boy.
twice, yeah. So just be forewarned.
So, Will, we could start without Susan, because we have a quorum.
Mhm.
So would you mind, would that be okay, or you're gonna get Susan on
Yes.
pretty quick?
I want, oh no, she can get on. It's
Oh.
just I can't look at one screen and have you look at another screen.
Oh, okay. Well, she could probably be just by voice. All right.
Like we were saying before I left select board.
So
and
what
I
I'm-
thought somebody would take care
I'm
of
going
it.
to,
It's
I'm
be
gonna
my
start
next
this, and we will
one. Can I
welcome
have these
Susan.
copies? Yeah.
Yeah,
Does
well, I-
anybody else need?
Yeah,
I need one
we
of
all
those.
have
Yeah,
them.
Yeah. That's another set, that's your set. No, that's my set. No, okay, here's another, no, then I'll leave this, I can use this.
all right. It is 5:01, and I am going to call the meeting of the Development Review Board to order. And we have an application for Adam and Beverly Proctor for a conditional use permit to excavate in a floodway at 1166 Vermont Route 100. This application will be reviewed under section 404 of the Weston zoning regulations. I will be opening the hearing in a few minutes, at whatever time it is when we open. And we will be recording this hearing. And I'm waiving reading of the public notice that appeared in the newspaper, if that's okay with everybody. Okay, good. We do have an information packet that is right in front of us, so we have that. I'm just confirming that the notice was sent to the abutters.
Yes,
Okay, and you have the return receipts,
yes.
and you will make sure that Deb gets the names and address of the abutters.
Yes.
The hearing will be conducted in accordance with the rules of procedure adopted by the Development Review Board. Does anybody on the board have a conflict of interest to report?
None.
Any ex parte conversations with?
None.
Okay. According to state law, only persons who have participated in the hearing have the, either in person or by email, whatever, in the hearing have a right to appeal the decision. So everybody needs to provide contact information to the zoning administrator. We don't have any members of the public here because the proctors are here for item number 1 on the agenda, and Jeff Brown is here for item number 2 on the agenda. All persons, including applicants who might be giving testimony or speaking tonight, are required to take the following oath. So I would request that Jeff, you take this oath at this time, and the proctors, you take this. And I am going to read it, and then you can just raise your hand and say you agree. I hereby swear that the evidence I give in this case shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth, under penalties of perjury. Everybody okay with that? Great. Everybody raised their hand and swore to that. The general flow of the hearing will be, you guys, the proctors, will tell us what you're doing and explain what you're doing and why you're doing it. We leave this relatively informally. We can ask questions if, during the middle of your, if that's okay with you, during the middle of your presentation. And any members of the public can ask questions. So Jeff, you right now are a member of the public, so if you have any questions, you can. And then we will ask for final comments, because then we need to decide whether we are closing your hearing, or if we haven't gotten sufficient information, we keep your hearing open. Hopefully we'll be able to close your hearing. And then we decide on next steps. Under state law, we have 45 days in which to render a decision. We will hopefully do that in way less than 45 days. You will be getting a written decision from the Development Review Board on our decision. And we will, after the second hearing, which is Vermont Country Store, we will go into deliberative session. But deliberative session is not open to the public. So we will go into deliberative session and decide, and hopefully we'll be able to decide tonight and get something off to you pretty quickly. So before I actually open the hearing, does anybody have any questions on the process?
No, I just wondered, should we approve the minutes?
Thank you very much.
That's that one, yeah.
Yes, while we're still in the meeting, yes.
We forgot that
Thank you
one
very-
time and it created a big mess.
Thank you very much. The agenda item is to approve the minutes from the June 5th, 2024 meeting and hearing. And I want a special thanks to Deb for doing them, because they were so good that our attorney said, well, just use them. I mean, that was very good. So
That's
thank you
good.
very much. So may I have a motion to approve the minutes of the June 5th meeting? Annie's going to make that motion?
No, well, I wasn't
Oh,
here, so
Laura's
I
gonna
have to
make
be
that motion.
recused.
Motion to approve the minutes of the hearing.
Oh, and I think you,
So I can say.
and you
I
can
can
second
second.
them. All right. Any further questions on the minutes? All in favor of approving the minutes of June 5th, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And they're approved. Did we get Susan, or she hasn't come in yet?
Haven't come in yet.
Okay, all right. We do have a quorum. We're okay. Okay, I'm opening the hearing at 5:07, and we are recording
Yes,
this. All right.
state law now.
Oh, proctors, you may
So yeah.
tell us what's going on.
I'm just gonna lay these right here, but our application is just to kind of define a swale that runs parallel to Route 100. Typically, when the floodwaters happen, they crest the road from across the street, find our driveway, and just because of pitch, head right towards the basement where my mother lives. So it's an equal cut fill that I've also talked to the state about. I think his name was Kevin. Kyle. So it's an
Oh,
equal
okay.
cut fill essentially. So we're just trying to increase the pitch of the swale while at the same time raising the driveway.
Okay,
So it's essentially coming down a foot in the swale location and about the same up in the driveway, just to help create a.
Yeah, so a drain,
Correct.
basically a drain
Yep.
here, so, okay.
So the water just heads there instead of there is essentially what we're trying to.
And what's here?
So that is a berm, and that's a swale that was created by the road crews that did the bridge. So the swale goes right to the river right there, and it's just, this is not.
It'll
very
go to the
defined. So
river,
yes,
that's
it
what,
goes
it's
right
not,
to the
that's
river.
what's, it looked blocked. I
No,
mean,
no,
couldn't-
yeah, that's
so
just
this
vegetation. That's
goes-
just vegetation, yep.
Okay, so
Yep.
this goes
Correct,
down into
right
the
to
river,
it.
okay.
yep.
So we have to look at this under section
I think it's the same.
404, is that correct?
Not quite. Not quite.
Section 404. I'm looking at section.
Oh, yeah.
404.
no.
And you spoke to Kyle Medish, is that?
Yeah, well, we were
the-
going through this
okay.
process
That
of
we
the
have we
application.
have an email copy of.
Okay. So, you are developing in a floodway? Is this
Yes.
part of a floodway?
Yep.
Yes, okay. So. So have we received the information that we're required to receive then, which is
Yes.
the elevation consistent with the datum of the elevation of the, you got all those?
I did a markup on a drawing.
Okay, and that is in our packet presumably?
The last page of the packet is Kyle Madash saying, I'll just read it. As shown in the application, the project proposes to modify the existing swale on the site by removing, regrading material from the swale to provide better drainage during flooding and reutilizing that material to lower the driveway approximately 12 cubic yards, to direct the flows towards the swale. The proposal appears to meet the intent of the development standards in 407.2.
So 407.2. Which is this is floodway fringe area?
I thought it was in floodway. You'd think that the flood guy would know, though.
Yeah, so he said
So we
it's
were
a-
hoping.
which is outside of the floodway. Okay.
Part of the easement.
They being the state or somebody actually kind of did that, right? I mean, they came in, or was that before you bought
That's
your
what
house?
you see.
Yeah.
So it was very minimal pitch, right? So
Yeah.
it didn't really create a drainage swale. was all.
Here's another email from Kyle, which says, I had touched base with Adam last week. I gave him some comments on the application. And they should be good to approach the town for a permit.
No state permit.
No state permit needed.
From Scott or I.
And I checked in with him once we received the application, and all the comments he gave were the next page.
Okay.
I have my
Or the
question.
page
Sorry,
after.
go ahead.
No, I'm good.
I just have a question. So this area that's going to be more of a swale and this is going to be higher.
Yes.
Is this going to be basically grass? Is there going to be anything in that helps slow the flow? I know that's been something that's come up quite a bit, that
Talking to Kyle, he
when
reckoned,
you kind of, if it creates too much force going in a certain direction, so there will be grass, there will be
it'll be a
things
vegetative
that
swale.
will
Yeah, it says right in there.
smooth, okay. I didn't see that.
Oh,
Okay.
thank you.
The vegetation will strong, okay. Just,
Yeah.
okay, so
So the
it's not like
practical
a trench.
consists of
It's
creating an
just-
additional 12-inch of pitch within the existing swale. Also include raising the lower driveway 12 inches to help create a barrier for any future floodwater.
Yeah, he seemed to push for an equal cut fill, so that's why
Oh,
we're
so
gonna
12
go
and
down
12?
a foot and up a
Down
foot
and up,
was
so,
essentially.
okay. But it's not a trench, it's just basically,
So, Will, I didn't see anything, I gotta guess from Kyle, other than that thing, or
the letters.
maybe it's on this one. Oh, I'm looking
The
at my
last
back
page, I
yeah.
think,
Yeah,
yes.
this one, and then he
Mhm.
references this. The 405.1.
So, yeah, he's saying that, they're being supplied in reference to that. Anybody having.
It's not a very big project.
No.
No.
Trying to
I mean,
divert that damn water.
Yeah, no, we
12
understand.
yards of material.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's,
Okay,
okay.
so, are there any more questions for, Adam? No, okay, and, question to the board, do you feel like you have sufficient information to be able to make a decision on this?
Yeah.
Okay, so, we close, I guess, this portion of this hearing, right? And then we'll open the other one. All right. So we're gonna close this hearing at, I can see the clock, it's
15.
5:15, 5:14. All in favor of closing the hearing at 5:14, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, you guys are
We're good to go?
good to go. You actually are able to stay if you would like to.
But
Sorry about that.
am I ready with the decision, Tim?
I'm good.
If you want to.
I think I mean, I can get it done fast.
Okay, terrific.
So you'll get a written decision and other information in the mail
Okay,
as
great.
soon as I can get to it.
Thank you.
Good,
Thanks,
thank you.
guys.
You're
Have a
welcome.
good day.
Have a good night.
You too.
Good luck.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
All right, so. All right.
Hi.
Well, you promised us pizza by July. I
Yeah,
just want
Jack.
you to know.
Oh,
I'm hungry
Well,
actually
you
right
can actually, they
now.
are starting luncheons. So you
Really?
can actually-
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute, they're not open for dinner?
So what we want to do is they've done dinners for employees, and then we were planning to do dinners for town folks this week with a discount. The staffing is not open today. So we're not,
I invited Lyman for dinner on Saturday.
well, it won't be open, so.
Okay, all right, well, good, I will tell him.
Yeah, so where our hope is that in 2 weeks, I'll be sending out an email to folks, and you can split out from there, and we're gonna roughly be able to accommodate over a 3-night period, about 120, 130, 140 people. That is our goal. And to make it a pleasant experience with discount for everyone is a way to introduce. I'm just honestly not sure outside of Fridays and Saturdays that they will be able to do dinners much beyond that this year.
Okay, all right,
Because of the same thing we experienced, staffing is,
well,
So.
but
okay,
lunch, it was open today. I believe it'll be open the next couple
really?
days. You can, yeah, quietly, we're just testing, making,
Great.
getting the
Oh,
feet wet.
okay.
so.
is there pizza for lunch too?
Well, the pizza's the mainstay,
Yeah.
and I have to be honest, Al did a whole thing for a group of us, it's excellent.
Yeah.
It's a
They're
really nice
fantastic.
olive oil dough that he has done a beautiful job making, and his ingredients are top flight, so it's good.
great, all right, thank you. Moving right along.
So
Well, that's good to
we'll go
know.
from there.
Well, it's
There
gonna talk
too.
about it supper
I
time.
know.
So, all right, the conducting of the hearing will be the exactly same as, oh, okay, we're gonna open up the hearing at 5:18. Okay, and we are recording this, and we have a packet of information, and I'm not gonna go through all the other things, because there's nobody else here anyway, about how we're conducting it, and blah, blah, blah. But let me just read what it is that you are doing. Oh, wait a minute, that's the old one.
Yeah, it's a second page.
Oh,
The
the,
old ends.
Did you put
Okay,
the old one in?
request for, and
No,
it's
we
all right,
have it.
it's okay.
they're both there.
They're both.
Request for an administrative amendment to the site plan to add a porch/patio space to the front of the restaurant, accessed by the front door with an emergency exit only off the driveway side. This would have something with railings with decking that would allow whatever
Water.
wagers to flow to the ground below. Size is going to be 14 by 22 with a 14-foot sub trace track, whatever. Okay. Do you want to add anything? Tell us more.
Yeah, so since then,
If you could explain.
yes, since then I did resubmit based upon a discussion that Will and I had relative to the fact that we cannot do 14 feet because of the setback. So therefore, I hope you have the drawings and the redos that I did for all of this. That shows the revised seating plan. So basically now it's a 373 square foot area with 34 feet running along the front, a depth of 10 feet from the main wall of the house. And then now we're extending it off the side towards the driveway space by an additional 10 feet. So it's basically, if you think about it, it's an L shape with the corners cut out, emanating from the bay window, the corner of the bay window, all the way around. I included, courtesy of my sitting down and drafting off for this, example of both the property as,
Very nice.
thank you, as a, without awning and then with awning. Our preference would be obviously to put an awning on it that would be custom made for the space to allow dining throughout the summer and inclement weather. Outside of that, it would be basically a wood frame. Internally we discussed stone versus wood frame. Wood frame makes much more sense for us. So essentially it would be wood frame with an appropriately fitting columns and railings that match the current aesthetic quality of the building. And there would be an emergency exit off the back side facing the current entrance, which is really the entrance to the apartment upstairs. The benefit behind this is there's really no pitch, so therefore it almost is graded directly off the back. So if there was, for some reason, a need for people to exit out there, all wheelchairs could make it out as well. So our plan is that this would be ADA accessible on top of that.
So there's a ramp going up?
No, so you're,
To your side.
it's, if you look at the footprint, Laura, look at this one, which has the house design. You can see that because this would be having alcohol, we want to make this a restricted area, so you can't access it from here. You need to go through the restaurant, and then you'll be seated outside. This would be emergency exit only,
Okay.
which would be graded to the back
Okay.
area there.
Right, okay.
And this is different from what you said before in dimensions.
By 4 feet, because originally I had it out 14 feet,
Oh.
which met within the right of way of the roadway. But when Will pointed out that we still have a setback issue that we also had to comply with, which meant that it moved it to, I allotted only 10 feet out from the building, not the 14 that we originally planned.
So, yeah.
Which is why I moved it from a flat design in the front to an L shape to give us the additional square footage off the side. And since we own the driveway over to the next building, there's no setback
I think
issues
it looks
there.
nice going around.
Yeah,
I
do
actually,
too.
I'm glad
Yeah, I do
because
too.
it looks
Yeah.
better.
I think it
So-
looks nice.
Well, it also allows for much easier access, again, from an emergency purpose off the backside, whereas before we were trying to figure out how we run this ramp around the thing. So this actually solved. the issue.
Yeah.
So they enter from the inside the restaurant.
Yep.
But you said that that's only an emergency exit, but is that the way they come through the big
No.
door there,
So
or how do they
this
come in?
is emergency exit only off the backside.
Off the back, okay.
Yep, so this will be, so you'll be going to the
This is
restaurant.
main- That's, that,
That's the front door of the building that you see from the street
yes, it
side.
is, yeah,
So you'll still enter through the parking lot entrance,
yeah.
down, into the bar area, and then from there you'll be seated to that space. So we do, obviously, it will be an outdoor consumption permitted area,
Yeah,
and it has to be restricted.
And the awning is just.
It would be like we do with all of our awnings, they're seasonal, so it would
You
go
would
up.
take it up and down.
Your frame would stay out there, but we would not be using it in winter anyways.
Right.
So it would just be a snow space.
Right, and then the indoor seating will be, the total seating will,
Cannot exceed our current capacity, which I think is 74, 76.
right,
We also have outdoor capacity from Mildred's, which is not included in this. So our 74 will shift between the restaurant in the summertime, we'll move more seating outdoors. Or if it's a heavy rainy day, we'll move it back in. So that will be the responsibility of the folks in the restaurant.
So I have a dumb question. Does Mildred stay back there?
Yeah, no, they're gonna continue to run the dairy bar. And in fact, we're actually looking at a donut making machine. Cider donuts.
Oh, that will be a very popular.
I've wanted to do that for
Item.
10 years. So
Well, this might be the year,
This
because
might be
that's
the
a
year.
great idea.
Okay. And then everybody got the additional letter that outlined about septic and traffic and outdoor lighting and so all the outdoor lighting would be
downward facing.
downward facing and
So they meet all the conditional use
yeah. So
requirements.
Will, does the site plan ultimately have to get amended or do we just attach this to it or how does it work?
We should, in the next bylaws, formalize the process for amending site plans,
Okay,
but
hear that?
what we've been doing is informally amending site plan,
Okay.
but that's what I was planning on doing.
Okay, and it could, what it could say on the site plan, it could say amended by decision of the DRB on such and such a day, so that they could look at that to make sure they understood.
Yeah.
Yeah, but,
I think there's been 3
yeah,
amendments to the site plan since it was drawn, so.
okay. So,
And we don't need any additional permits.
You're not increasing the sewage,
No,
we're not
you're not
increasing-
triggering Act 250.
right?
So actually, just for an aside, only because it's come up before, from a sewage perspective, we did meet with our engineers. And over the years, we have, because we monitor our both inflow and outflow every single day. Because of the changes we've made to how our business operates, we're actually at half capacity right now of our current permit. So therefore, per our legal counsel, we're well within our septic permit regardless. So there's no issues related to that, and I have that on the record.
and we talked about lighting, traffic. The only traffic that you increase might come from like people who are coming to the restaurant who are not necessarily coming to the.
Right, but they'll still be pulling in the same way they do now.
And they'll be the same, yeah.
Doesn't increase parking on the street or anything.
And that's not, the peak traffic period is considered to be like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, so. They're probably,
The hours of
Which is not a
operation,
popular restaurant time. Yeah, changes.
11 to 9. and-
What are their proposed hours?
11 to 9.
11 to 9, however, right now we're
How many
probably up.
days? Yeah,
Their goal is to be 7 days a week.
okay.
So remember, this is a leased operation. We're
I know,
not
I'm just,
controlling it,
yeah.
but yeah, their goal is to be open all hours plus dinner hours. But as I said, it's gonna be a subset of staffing who will decide what they can do.
Mhm.
So right now, our principal, obviously, reason for doing this is to support the store effort. So therefore, we want our customers to be supported first, because that's why we're doing this.
Mhm. So in the first go around, the housing was for the staff,
Yes.
and but that's not attracting as many people as you'd like. Or,
Yeah, that was my question, yeah.
Yeah, surprisingly not yet, but without going too much into it, management had a meeting with them today to help them think different ways about proposing staffing, so.
Staffing
So-
is the hard.
Oh,
around here.
yeah.
It is,
Awful.
so. I mean, we have a great manager, her name is Marvetta, she's actually for 20 years ran the Stratton Club,
Mm.
so,
nice.
she's a crackerjack, so hopefully we'll come together soon.
Good.
Because we all want it.
All right,
yeah.
and so any additional questions for Jeff? Do we feel like we have enough information to make a decision?
I think so.
Yeah.
And we will try to get you a decision as quickly as possible, because we all want that pizza.
Yeah.
It sounds like
You
we
expect
can get
that
it
to
We can
at
get it at
lunchtime.
lunchtime.
You expect to have the deck up this before winter?
He was hoping to, I frankly don't think it's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's getting-
I think it's getting
For sure.
next year, so,
Yeah, I
Mhm.
just, yeah.
yeah, the goal was actually to be done.
No, I have no idea.
Originally July, no?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Mid-July.
not with the
was
deck,
the
but-
original.
Be fully
What is it,
operational.
this has nothing to do with this, but what are the hours of operation now?
The important thing.
so it's sporadic, shall we say.
Okay.
So it wasn't open yesterday, it was open today.
Uh-huh.
I think until they figure out the people piece, you just may wanna smell in the air, and if you
See
smell,
if
you say head
there's
over.
pizza
So
So
that's all I
that's
can
better,
say.
smelling is better than trying to call somebody.
Probably.
You might get frustrated.
Sounds
Okay,
like you
great,
get a
all right,
machine.
so any
Okay.
other additional information for Jeff? Okay, do you have anything for us?
Well, I do wanna talk PC for a second, but not on the clock, so.
Oh, all right, so, we're done, we're gonna close the hearing at 5:30. And, we're going to allow our, member of the public now or member of the planning commission to talk to us.
So, this morning we pushed to the, select board, the town plan draft. So now it's in their hands to take it to the next step. The town plan was approved in 2016 on October 11th. And the goal is to have the select board do the same. As a result of that, we're going to be applying for the bylaws modernization grant, but we've been told that it will not be open until January and may not get approved till sometime middle of the year. So one of the conversations I've been having with our consultant and with the PC is to say, okay, well, we've got to get some traction going. So the October, November, and December meetings, what I'm suggesting, I'm just throwing this out to you guys, tell me what you think, is to really try to come up with a joint meeting where you're informing us what are the top line items, and we probably segment it out to take different chunks of the bylaws to say, what are the things that we can focus on first? Because now with the changes that the state had put through, where we can have the select board go ahead and approve these things without a town meeting, I want to get ahead of this to start helping the DRB with what you need while we wait for the full grant, so we can go into the full bylaw modernization process, which again is going to be another full year cycle, because we don't want to wait. So you don't need to make any comment now. I'm just throwing it out to you. I think it would be a good use of time for the PC and DRB to actually
Okay,
go into this.
so I have two questions.
Sure.
One is, in terms of us being helpful to you, we can certainly come up with some, high level things or low level things that are, consistently difficult for us.
Not pain points. Yeah.
What I wondered is, we don't have to come up with, and I'm assuming this is what your consultant will help with, is where the existing bylaws deviate from state law.
That
So
would be part of the
that-
bylaw modernization.
That,
Right.
we don't have to think about that. That will be covered by them. Okay. Secondly, you said October, November, December, whatever. Do you want us at 3 meetings, and also, we don't have to be a quorum to come to your meeting. I
No,
mean, we can
no.
just come to your
Good idea.
meeting. So would it be best for us to come to your regularly scheduled meeting?
That's what I was
or-
thinking, right?
Okay.
Because not a lot of people show for those. We actually had some folks come in. So my point is,
First Monday,
it's typically the first Monday.
Unless it's a
So
holiday.
unless it's the holiday
You
issue.
holding them at OPC then,
Huh?
at the church?
The
Did you-
meeting?
Yeah.
You were doing here.
Oh, here.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't.
No, we did that for the
Public.
Okay.
public meeting.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
all right.
So
How many-
4 people showed.
I was gonna say how many people. you get.
All right, so we can, we now, we'll just talk about it a little bit further, we have sort of a standing invitation
Yes.
to come to your meeting, and we are going to assume that it's the first Monday of the month
Yep.
unless we hear differently
And
from.
what I was thinking, if even, and maybe we can go offline at some point, but what would be a way to structure this? And
Okay.
because I want to make it easy, but at the same time productive, so that we could go into actually working on these items. I'm actually trying to get our consultant to give us a little bit of additional time so that we can get some, where he's very helpful is to pull from other areas where the state has examples that, like when we talked about emission and some of those other things in the past, those are things that I'd like to actually be able to leverage the work of others and incorporate within our current bylaws.
So, along these lines, and Will is very familiar with this, and none of us want to get into the problem of Londonderry. So,
Why not?
I don't, yeah. So I guess, do you have a, when I say, do you guys have a goal? Do you have a, I mean, like, it seemed to me that Londonderry, and I may be being overly generalization here, but it seemed to me like they kind of said, we want to address everything under the sun, including Christmas lights or something. Do you have a goal to simplify? Do you have a goal to
I think, so I would look at the town plan work we did, which was, we did not go out into left field on about anything. We tried to incorporate what was topical for today with most people, where we knew that the state was looking for us to think differently, and to obviously incorporate the flood, which was a critical impact to the town and its future, and some of the other, again, topics that really do need to be addressed over a longer period. Folks that came in to see us, if they had passion points, pretty much most everything got incorporated, because from our perspective, there was nothing there that didn't created significant issues for anybody. So the town plan is a directional document. I think our goal is going to be the same thing: simplify where we can, comply with state laws, and again, make it easier for you folks to do the job that you're doing, because that's our goal, is to make it a better DRB process, both for you, but also for applicants coming to this town.
So what I see us being helpful for, at least initially, is not, for example, if you have something in the town plan about the need for affordable housing or more affordable, it's not going to help us to say, initially to say like, oh, well, we should have 1 acre zoning, or we should have this or that. You're really looking more for sort of technical areas that we run into trouble with, and that could be modified, and then obviously it has to fit in with all the other stuff, but is that what I'm?
Yes, because what you just said about affordable housing, that's to me, when we go into the actual full bylaw modernization, where and I would do it exactly the same way. We're going to schedule monthly meetings where we hit a topic, we go through a process, we have the consultant, we publish what we did, both in terms of what was here originally, and here's our red line, which I thought, for those who actually looked at it, was effective, because you didn't have to go and say, well, what did you have before? You could just look and see where we made changes. So I want to kind of stick to that same type of an approach. That to me is that bigger process. This should not be about wholesale changes, but about fixing things that are problematic, both for the townspeople and for you in terms of the judiciating.
And so I do have a big question, and that is,
I hope I can answer it.
well, that is the thing that was really, in a way, one of the things that was the most difficult for us was our subdivision.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if that's being, like, did Londonderry pull everything in, or do they have separate subdivision?
No.
They pulled it in. We would love it if it all got pulled into one. I don't know if that's.
Well, and I think that's also an opportunity just to, maybe one of the days is let's talk about the documents in total in their entirety, and say, from a administrative perspective, here's things that we recommend that you make changes on. And again, that may not happen for a year, but at least it gives us direction from your experience, because you have the relevant experience, where with the structure that it is today, we don't see how it's implemented. We only see what's been written and how you conceptually think about it.
And sometimes sitting in on our deliberative session, our brains are like, oh, how are we gonna do this? Because there's this and there's that. So that would be like that would be a wish list kind of thing to really
Yeah.
incorporate that, and I think that would be helpful.
Which-
Which reminds me of one other thing, which is, and we touched on this when you said a better process for site plan amendment. There's processes that are kind of not really easy to understand, even more, which is slightly different than whether the setback should be 20 feet or 22 feet, you know, the processes of actually how you do stuff. And I personally think, and actually just having filled out an application for the library, our application could really, it could have a different sort of a format that would help the applicant, but also would help the board and the zoning administrator really understand what people are applying for.
Well, that actually, to me, that sounds like a specific day where we actually go into that, because that, now, Will, is the application physically itself a PC function, or is it a zoning administrator function?
I think it's a zoning administrator function, and usually I think Weston can use some checklists, like a site plan checklist, obviously a
And
subdivision checklist.
we ought to just figure that out, because I actually at one point was a long time ago, when I was on the planning commission, I actually thought the select board had to sign off on the application, but I could be.
Yeah, I could check. It's
I
different.
could be
It's
wrong,
different in
but-
different towns.
But the other thing is that this is one of those things where we don't have to recreate the wheel, for example. There are
Exactly.
lots of good examples of what other towns have for their application, and actually have like a checklist and a verbiage, you know, if you're doing this, you need a this, this, and this, and if you're doing that, you need a this, this, and this. And that would be
Helpful for
helpful.
everybody,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
For everybody.
One thing that I wonder if you'll fix is it looks like that the plan was adopted from somebody else's document and put there, and it includes how big block sizes can be, and street lights.
Oh, the
and-
subdivision.
Yeah, and
And,
school
playgrounds and
locations,
Yeah,
things
yeah,
that just don't apply here.
It's not applicable.
We need street light, all of our roads within a subdivision have to be paved, they all have to have sidewalks, they all have to have lighting, you know, just.
Yeah, and
So
First,
I'm wondering if
Yeah.
part, so again, I'm trying to source, what can we do, because what I'm acknowledging, I'll say right up front, is the experience of the PC is not one that should be jumping in to do a full bylaw rewrite, we're not prepared to do
Yeah.
that. So what are we gonna utilize this time for, we're most effective and efficient and supportive? And so for me, part of this is around, you know, some both technical checklists, things like that. I mean, again, maybe it is us sourcing a series of applications and then working with you guys to say, because I also know that you have a lot on your plate. So are there things that we can source and use Matt for to say, give us the best applications out there, the ones with the least problems, pull those in. And then if we can get a few things actually started, done, approved. great.
Okay, so you just said something that I wanted to make sure I understood, you're not doing a complete rewrite.
Until we get we want a consultant, to
Okay,
support
but
us.
eventually your output would be a complete.
Yes.
Okay, all
but
right.
not until we've applied for, been granted, and have a consultant to do it.
Okay,
So we
But
should get
meanwhile, there
together
Yeah.
are some
before and
technicalities
then get.
that
go to
can
their
be
meeting.
changed
Yes,
and wording that we have struggled with that was just so minor. Like the
Conflicting
waiver,
language.
like the, and
Right,
the
the fact that we-
structure
Like
that
screening
doesn't create.
at
Yeah.
15
An
feet and
additional-
25
There,
feet.
there are
Yeah.
unclear provisions.
right, and that to me is about clarity, so
Right.
because of the change last year, where it no longer requires a bylaw to go before the town and it can go before the select board,
Yeah,
I think that allows us to do this in an iterative fashion,
yeah,
take on the things that are most, again, I'm just gonna call them your key pain points. What are the things that, boy, if you fix
Yeah.
this solves 10% of the
Mhm.
crap that we've been dealing with.
Right.
That's the point behind
Mhm.
this.
Yeah.
We
Again,
have to come
my
up
goal
with
is the
that.
PC should be of service at this point.
Mhm.
We've done our one big job, we've got another one to do, but in between there, what are we gonna
Mhm.
tackle? And I've covered this with Matt Backler, who's our consultant. He totally agrees this is the right approach. Lexi's on board, so I just wanna kind of.
Great.
Forward, I thought, since you're all here, we
Yeah.
had a deliberative
Almost
session,
all.
we can talk it through.
Yeah.
And I have a draft that's the greatest hits of,
Oh, that, very large.
Yes.
And you've been amending it as you've been going along,
Yes.
right? Okay. So at some point, that may be the basis for discussion, but that's also something that I know that we do have to go through with the consultant, because there were some comparisons to what the current state laws and some other things like that, that all has to be clarified. Plus, and I'll say this up front, I do not want to make the mistake of Londonderry.
Yeah.
This has to be an open, iterative
Right.
process, and we're not gonna be talking about firewood.
Mhm.
We're not gonna be talking about Christmas lights, we're not gonna go that.
the
far.
problem with Londonderry was the consultant was not listening. Well, the board was not listening to the town, and
Yeah.
the board didn't think they could do anything about changing what was in the.
And people, from what I read in the newspaper, people felt like this was a secret plan that was sprung on them, you know, they never knew as it went along.
Well, but, I mean, and I'm just gonna say this, because here, I pushed out postcards.
Mhm.
I tried to be as clear on the website as possible in terms of posting every document we've done straight
Wow.
through. And yet, at the meeting last week, I had someone present who was like, you know, well, why did you do, it's like, but wait a minute, for a year, we have been doing this. And so that,
Yeah.
on that piece, I also understand Londonderry's board concern was, wait a minute, we have been open about these things, so.
It's-
Anyways, that's it. You either, participation starts with showing up, and that's the piece that most people don't.
Yeah,
And then later on, when they decide, oh, something's happened, that's when they show
yeah,
up,
it
so,
speaks to
When it
our,
gets on
lack-
Facebook.
yeah,
yes.
yeah, it speaks to our lack of a newspaper or
Yeah.
something. I'm on the school board and this, they get the Manchester Journal in the other towns, but we don't get that. And,
Well,
you
we do,
know,
but we get the
yeah,
the local journal, and it has
Yeah,
Weston stuff,
Vermont.
I actually read that.
yeah,
every time
they
it
don't
comes
put a
through.
lot
do,
of,
but it's not a lot.
It's
no,
not
and
a
it's
It doesn't
only,
really cover our select board meetings very
no,
well.
no, and it doesn't cover what's
We're
going
not as
on
exciting as some other
in
towns.
Manchester and all our other schools everywhere
Yeah,
else.
It's pretty much Chester, Ludlow, and then over the river, and
Yeah,
I mean,
we
Well,
don't have it.
we're the poor.
I
people.
thank you very much for the invitation. Relay back to them that we'll figure out, you know, how we're gonna participate. And, I mean, I think as of now, we know we have an open invitation to come, but we're gonna try to get some
But
organization.
what I'd like to do is
over.
beforehand is to organize and then think about those. It's probably more than 3. It's probably, because of the length of this, it could be 6 of the next 6 meetings could be devoted to this process.
Okay.
Mhm.
Great,
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Good
Thank you,
night.
Jeff.
Thank you.
okay. Can I have a motion at whatever time this is, 5:45 to go into deliberative session?
Yeah, 5:46.
Dan moves and a second from Laura, and all in favor of saying going into.
Aye.
All right, so we have 2 matters. Let's do the